Sassy Ossman. I gotta put that in because I've known her for quite some time, so I can do that. And this is Brett's with Friends, my 9th episode or something like that. And she's a cannabis advocate, and I'm a cannabis advocate as well as a consumer of the cannabis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm honored that you would even have me on your show.
Oh,
but I am a friend, so I can see how and why you would invite me.
Well, thanks for coming on. It means a lot.
Sure.
It means a lot.
Absolutely.
So give us the scoop on where you've been, where you're at, give us the whole kit and caboodle. Let's start from the beginning until we're at now with your career in the cannabis industry and where you see it going, and just talk and give the people.
Okay. It's fun. It's great to talk about the path that's led me to here right now. And I feel so super grateful and super blessed to have this incredible journey in life. So I met Brett in Venice, California, probably in the late 1998-ish, right?
Probably.
Before 2000. We had mutual friends in Venice Beach, and I was running the coffee shop of the community. I was sort of the unofficial mayor of Venice, where this is when in a time in between, right before the 2000s, that literally coffee shops were part of our culture. It was before we all had a handheld device where we got our news and entertainment. So at that time, coffee shops were really popular and a hub of an artist community. And that's what was happening in Venice. There was an incredible artist community. Folks like Brett and many others were there just sharing their gifts with all. And because I ran this very popular coffee shop, where literally the community of artists would grab their newspaper and come to the coffee shop and grab a coffee and sit down and literally read and talk and mull over current affairs with their artist community. It was a very special time in life, really, because again, we were communing with our community. We were literally supporting one another and lifting each other up. And through running this coffee shop, I got to know a lot of people within the community. It was a great time. And just about then, the .com world hit. And because my background was in event planning and catering, I was pretty known within the community to have these fantastic parties with live music, really great catered food, and always a lot of weed, right? You've been to a few of my parties.
I think your wedding.
That too. Yeah. So
there's a lot
through those onset of parties being known and the .com world hitting, a lot of our artists in the community got these giant, I don't know, a giant chunks of change being dropped in their lap to start a .com company. And they were getting into their own little stuff, and they needed to have a launch party. So they asked me to throw a party to launch their new business and make sure that there was always fine cannabis. And so that reputation preceded me, and I became very famous within the community to have these fantastic parties with a lot of weed. And so that stirred my exodus from the coffee shop. I started traveling the world and came back and started my own cannabis delivery service. And that happened about 1999, 1998-ish. And within our community, our local guy that we got our weed from decided to move out of state to become a tattoo artist. And so I took over his business and founded my own. And soon enough, I had 4 women driving all over Venice Beach and the west side of Los Angeles, delivering cannabis to those who were fortunate enough to have the inner phone number to get into our private club. And once you were in, you could refer other people, and that spurred off an incredible business that simultaneously allowed me to start a catering and event planning business. So I was running this event planning catering. I had an event space in Venice Beach where I would throw uh, art nights and food and film nights and raves and what's night. So the community would come to my space and we would have these elaborate parties and really supporting the artist community. And one day I went to expand my catering business by buying a turnkey business in Venice Beach from a local crazy woman. The deal went sour. She stole a bunch of money from me. And when she had to be accountable for that money, she was very angry and decided to call the police and just give them the whole lowdown about what I was doing. This mad woman running 4 women around Venice Beach and all over the west side of Los Angeles delivering weed to people. She was mad about it. So she turned me in and the cops investigated and we all got turned in and went to jail. Went to jail overnight. And as they say, everything happens for a reason. And I believe it happened. It was a really tough, dark time for me. However, I met my cannabis defense lawyer, big advocate, California raised, incredible man who taught me to hold my head up high, to be proud of the work that I was doing, that there was nothing wrong with what I was doing, spreading this love of cannabis all around to my community. However, I needed to run by the rules. So I ran under medical marijuana and I would throw these elaborate doctor parties at my home where I hired a doctor to set up shop in the back office of my home, and he had his staff come and check people in. And but my backyard people could swim, and I had all this catered food out and plenty of weed for them to keep themselves occupied until their name was called to get a cannabis license or a prescription to be able to have medical marijuana. So that's what I did. I gifted all of my clients that saw me in the black market, if you will, to come and participate in the medical marijuana market so that I would stay legal enough to provide them their medicine. I ran that way till 2016 when California passed adult consumption legal weed. And I thought for sure, because I had been running medical marijuana for so long, I would be the first to get a license to run a legal operation. That's just not the how and where it showed up in the city of Los Angeles. They're still struggling to get their shit together. It is a giant shit show where legal weed is concerned. I'm actually very, very upset and sad about the legal market, about what it's done to our cannabis culture. I truly believe that California is the mecca of cannabis culture. It has been from generations on generations. There's so many people and families that have fought for this plant to have it be accessible to many people. And because of legalization, it's just really it's not allowed safe access for people who truly need it. It's just for people with a lot of money and the giant, oh, anyways, whatever. We don't want to get into that. I do want to say, with everything, there comes a reason and a time. And I feel I'm grateful and blessed to know at this age that you got to be flexible. You got to be able to flow with the punches that life brings you. And so what? I couldn't get a license in the city of Los Angeles to sell legal weed. Okay. So I moved to San Bernardino County. I moved to Joshua Tree. I sold my home in Venice Beach. Venice Beach, after 23 years of living in Venice and 35 years in Los Angeles, as much as I love that city and that town of Venice, I became disenchanted with the how Los Angeles is running their business. I'm just upset of the homeless problems and so many. The list goes on. Cannabis. So I moved to the high desert. I just sold it all. I sold my home in Venice Beach. I do miss some friends that are left there. However, I feel, Brett, this is an extension to you. Joshua Tree is like Venice Beach in 2000, meaning you can still get a piece of property with some land. You can still have space around you to create your art. There's still a growing, incredible community of artists out here. Ever since the Burning Man movement, I feel that artists have been flocking out here to the desert that's only 2 hours away from the city, where they can have the space to create and be creative and not so much looming overhead of the city life. So it's brought me tremendous amount of peace of mind living in this expansive desert. I never ever in my imagination thought I would be okay with living not right next to the ocean, but I really don't miss it at all. I love the expansiveness of the desert. So once I moved here to the desert, actually, prior to moving to the desert and being disillusioned with the legal market of cannabis, I made a pivot into an ancillary business, meaning I don't sell the product anymore. I just create these beautiful 3 day, 2 night getaways for women where we celebrate cannabis as a spiritual and creative tool. And that movement is called the Glowing Goddess Getaway. And we're a private women's social club. And we generally go to all of the legal cannabis states and throw a 3 day, 2 night getaway for all women to come to use cannabis, to break down the walls, to connect to one another, to create more, to get more, tap into our creativity, to do some movement and some art classes, and to really create a community of women to end the stigma around this beautiful plant. From Glowing Goddess Getaway, I was given the opportunity to have my own show on Snoop Dogg's channel called Mary Jane. It's a digital platform for education in all things cannabis. And I had a show on there for about a year called Smoke in the Kitchen, where I created really fine food and paired them with very fine cannabis and had cannabis celebrities come on and cook with me. And we would talk about the benefits of pairing fine food and cannabis. So that kind of got me into the cannabis world and coming out of that green closet. And since I've moved to the desert and I'm still creating those getaways, but not through COVID, I've also been commissioned. I was commissioned by Simon and Schuster to write a book on CBD and cocktails. So I wish I had a copy right now, but I don't have it with me.
If you give me a
But
JPEG, if you give me a JPEG, we'll put it up on the screen.
okay, perfect. But I have just been the first time author of a new book called CBD Cocktails. It was a fun way to educate and bring a delicious way to bring CBD into people's lives. And with the new trending CBD, a non-psychoactive cannabinoid in cannabis, where there is so many benefits with CBD. I call it the gateway into the conversation because it doesn't get you psychoactively high, but it does have great benefits. It helps tremendously with anxiety, inflammation, and even pain relief. And a lot of people find it very beneficial with sleep aid. So since I wrote the book about CBD, I felt it was only my responsibility to educate people about CBD and other non-psychoactive cannabinoids because we're barely scratching the surface to find out the benefits of other parts of this plant that don't get you high, but still do and help aid beneficial quality of life. And so after the book, now I've launched my own online marketplace for all things CBD and rich in cannabinoids that won't get you high, that I can still sell online to you anywhere in the nation and internationally. And it's called Here's to CBD, or shop.h2c.store. And it's just a really fun way to look at different products for your pets, for your senior family members, or for yourself, for daily optimum better health all around from just ingesting different types of cannabinoids. So that's where I am today, from selling weed with a beeper and a pager to authoring a book and starting my own online marketplace.
I love it. This is fucking awesome.
It's fun. It's a fun way
well,
to educate people, and it's a great way to bring better knowledge so people can start feeling better.
I know it's been a long road, man. It's been a fucking long road. I mean, from being people selling on the street illegally to like, hey man, this shit's, you know, paying whatever, and then seeing the different, like, you know, like my stepfather had cancer before he passed away, and I was trying to get him on this is like way back in, like, I think 99, 98, stuff like that. People were frowning upon weed back then. I know
Yeah.
we're getting old. I always say that. It's like,
Yeah.
because it's been 20 years, but like, and everyone was frowning upon him doing weed. No one wanted to give him any weed. So he had to take all this, these, you know, drugs.
Synthetic weed or drugs, right? That
Yeah,
have
it was
far
like,
more
it was
side
a pretty
effects.
hardcore thing. And because I wish he would have, like, he would have loved to have had weed, but it wasn't in that consciousness of the planet at this time.
Right.
It was like, it was still looked down upon. And now my mom smokes weed, and
Good.
and I wish John Leonard would have had that with him. But to see the difference, was it 20 years makes,
Yeah.
to where it's acknowledged, and it's provided to people for medicinal purposes, to from where it went, from where it is now. I don't know. It's just we're in this. That's a lot of shit that happened
Yeah.
now and then.
20 years, and we have come far. Look at how many more states. 5 more states in this last election went either legal or medical marijuana. So literally more than half our country is either have medical or full-on adult consumption legal weed now. So we have come a long way. And one more side note, I just heard that Mexico has just passed a legal adult consumption any day now. So now we are a country sandwiched between legal Canada and legal Mexico. You know it's only going to be a time where it's going to be legal all across this nation.
Do you think that, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's an important question, but like, do you think a lot of that was the argument is for pharmaceutical, because everyone's the pharmaceutical industry didn't want that to be legal because of they're making money off it, and they're got everybody addicted to their drugs?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's a catch-22. It gives me a little nervousness because we have illegal weed in California, and our government is now governing our cannabis. Well, can you imagine? And I feel it's fucked up. Can you imagine when it's nationwide and the government is governing our weed? I pray that they don't put it in pharmaceuticals' hands. I don't want to go to a pharmacy to buy synthetic cannabis grown by our government. And if that happens, I bet you anything, the black market will just skyrocket through the roof like it used to be. But as much as I want it to be legal and regulated, it makes me nervous about big pharma getting their hands into cannabis. So far, they have not been able to have their hands in cannabis because it's still a scheduled 1 drug. So legally throughout our country, it's still put in the same category as heroin and methamphetamine and cocaine and other, and more severe chemical induced drugs. And you and I know this is plant medicine. It shouldn't be in that
Well,
category.
I think Oregon has just legalized mushrooms
Yep. Yep.
and cocaine
Yeah.
and heroin in some sort of
I
situation.
think criminal all
Yeah,
drugs, like Portugal.
decriminalization, right?
I think it's phenomenal. I believe it should be that way across our country. When you take the stigma off, I swear people won't give a shit about doing it, and they won't care as much.
What's the it's like yeah, people it's like being bad as sometimes feels being good, but once being bad isn't bad anymore, then
You're like, yeah, whatever.
you know.
I mean, most of my friends who have kids and my friends that smoke weed all the time, their kids, they're not interested in smoking weed. They're like, ugh, that's what my parents do. Do you know what I mean? So if all of that's destigmatized around all drugs, they're going to be like, yeah, whatever. That's a drug. I didn't like it. Whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think I feel that's the way it should be. That's all. I know Portugal's been that way for a long time. You'll have less addictive problems if you just don't worry about people's problems. Let them do what they're going to do.
Well, they're
Stop
going to
trying
find
to
it no matter what. If it's illegal or not legal, they're going to find it. If they need their kick, they're going to do it.
Why does our government have to be involved? Why do they have to say this is bad or good? Like, why? Just take it all off.
Yeah,
Anyway.
like Amsterdam or the Netherlands
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like they have the little shops went into Amsterdam. They had philosopher's stones, which were a way of mushroom. It was I don't know what they are, but I'd had them when I was in Amsterdam, and they're great. Philosopher's stones were great. They're like these little beads that were like mushroom. I don't know what they are. You could Google it, but I think we're living in the future now, and this is where we want to be. But what we had to do to get here was kind of a trip. Like,
Yeah, sure.
people lived and died. I know there's people that open up. I know of horror stories of people that were going into business with each other around trying to do this same thing that you're doing or what you did do, and people were friendships were lost, friendships were made, people lost their lives, people have incorporated in their businesses and is to sustainable things, and it's just amazing to see. Where do you think it's going to be in 10 years?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully legal nationwide. And hopefully, I don't know. I don't know. That's all I care about.
What do you want to be? Where do you want to see it be?
Legal nationwide, so you don't have to fret. No matter where you go in our country, you can have your medicine with you and not be in trouble. I want that. I want people to have more education around this plant so that they're not afraid of it and they'll incorporate it into their everyday life more often. That's what I really hope.
Do you like where what's the because I haven't smoked weed in actually like on a personal level. I haven't smoked weed in like a week or two. And that's a big deal for me because I've been smoking for 25 years.
You
And
just didn't have any?
no, I didn't have any, but I couldn't get high anymore. I think I've been after smoking it for so long. I just actually instead of buying the $80 eighth or the six, I just couldn't. And I don't want to do. I'm living here in Oregon. I'm living with my mom, my brother. I am quarantining. I think I need to flush my system a little bit because I'm so my tolerance level is
I
so
think
high.
it's a great idea. I think I'm due for one. I think cannabis breaks are a fantastic idea. A tolerance break is really necessary. And especially like you and I, we've been smoking all our lives. It's really good to take a break. And you're really smart, honestly. Instead of just buying more or going to dabs or concentrates, just take a break. take a month, take 2 weeks off, and one little bowl will get you so high next time. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I can't wait for that that first hit. It'll be like
Yeah.
first time, nothing like the first time. But
Yeah. It's good to give yourself a tolerance break. However, there are also other ways that are so awesome. Like I've been using tinctures lately, and tinctures have been really helping me take the edge off where I forget to smoke. It doesn't mean the THC isn't still in my body, but it just means I don't have to smoke all the time. Or when I finally do take a hit, you get more high because you already have it in your system through the tincture.
is there a benefit? Now there's like because the burning the flower, right? Burning the flower, people, the throat and the stuff like that. Like, is there a how would you tell somebody to go about taking a break from it if they needed to do that? If they're like
Yeah.
like one.
No, I think what you're doing is great. I think I have nothing against any of it. Like I think any time that you ingest cannabis, it's medicine. It's always good for us. We are all
If it's burning
Yeah,
the
but we're
flower.
all born with an endocannabinoid system throughout our system. We have a system that creates cannabinoids already. And if it's not creating enough, we get it through plant matter. And that's why it feels so good for us and we want it. That said, when you burn it through papers or a pipe or whatever, you're right. You are burning other matter. It's never hurt anybody. However, it is hot on your throat and in your lungs. You could vaporize it. They have vaporizing where you can vaporize the flower, the weed, or vaporize a concentrate. But honestly, for you, what I'm hearing is you need a tolerance break. Your tolerance is high and you need to flush your system to be able to appreciate it on a lower level. So
Absolutely.
I would say 2 weeks at least. If you can do 30 days, it'd be phenomenal. But 2 weeks is plenty good. And then I would start with just tinctures, just to try them. A tincture of THC, really, because you can microdose and you'll get so high because you've had that break. And just start with a tincture, or so maybe when you come back to it, you're having a tincture and you're only smoking one joint, but halving it once during the half part of the day and the other half of the other time. Do you know what I mean? Like sharing one joint through one day instead of 5 joints a day or whatever. You know what I mean? Because you have the tincture in you.
And because I got sort of this is a personal note. I got sort of addicted to doing. I'm smoking a cigarette right now.
Uh-huh.
But like I like the spliff, and I was getting into
Really strong, yeah.
I got where you get the nicotine and kick plus the weed kick, which is I'm gluttonous. I'm the first to admit it. I'm no angel, but like I like that kick.
You
And,
like to feel
it. And so is that a bad situation, or should you use that with when you roll a spliff with weed and tobacco? Should you use a cotton filter, or does it matter?
Here's what I say. Nothing's bad. There are things better. Why don't you try a hemp wrap instead of a tobacco wrap? It might not give you quite the kick, but maybe that tolerance will help. But hemp wraps are much more healthy for you. The tobacco is not as good for you, right? But you're smoking a cigarette anyway, so tobacco you don't seem to have an issue with. So again, it's all a personal note. I think a tolerance break is so good that when you come back, you can try different methods and not go straight to the blunt. Because the blunt really is pretty intense. And so when you do a tolerance break, hopefully you're waiting to come back with a very small amount and be okay with that, right?
Yeah. It's like I remember I worked at Lone Wolf Cigar Shop in Santa Monica off of on the promenade for a while, and we would roll blunts and watch people walk through the window at when we close the store and watch people make it, look at the reflection in the window, and we would trip out so hardcore. But is there a benefit to a blunt wrap rolled? Is that nicotine kicking in more weed oriented? Is that kicking in the THC, or is that just us being weird?
No, I don't believe it works that way. I think it doesn't do any
It
more.
doesn't enhance
It
it.
doesn't release more THC. It does not do benefits for the THC. I think it's just the two together make it more high, I guess,
Two great tastes that taste great together.
Yeah. I remember when I first used to get high, I loved to smoke a cigarette after I got high off the joint. I'd be like, oh my God, I feel so much more high. But then I just stopped. Then I was just so upset that I was smoking so much that I stopped the cigarettes altogether. And I never been a blunt person because I really don't like the taste of tobacco now, So anyways, no, I would absolutely encourage you to go with a hemp wrap over a blunt tobacco wrap, only because I don't think it's doing you any good.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Anything's bad, but I don't think it's really healthy for you.
And so, where do you see the industry going in the future? Like, where do you? Because as we science this, because as we the people that are smoking this weed in the '60s they're not smoking the weed that we're smoking now. All right,
No.
that's a conversation that's already been had a billion times.
Oh yeah.
But like, where do you see the science of it going? Is it crackle where they do the not crack, but like that's a different thing. But like the oil crackle, or what's it called?
No, it's called twax or shatter.
Shatter. That's right. That's the word I was searching.
So personally, I am a dabber now. I smoke flower as well, but I do smoke concentrates because, like you, my tolerance is high, and I was I was upset with myself by smoking so much just to be high, like you said, and because I sold it, I had endless resources. But like I could really smoke a half ounce of weed by myself a day. Like literally that's like 10 joints, 20 joints a day. I can smoke that, no problem.
That's where I was going. That's what happened to me.
Yeah. So what I started doing was I started smoking concentrates. There is different forms of concentrates. There's shatter, there's sauce, there's batter and butter and snap and pull. These are all different forms of concentrated cannabis. Concentrated cannabis also is in a tincture, is in a vape pen, is in edibles.
Are vape pens good? I'm sorry to interject. There's a big dispute about the vape pen thing.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the vape? Is that good or not?
I think that if you find a company within a legal market and you're not buying in the black market of cartridges, I think you'll be fine because we have state regulations and they have to be lab tested. The ones that were not good were a couple things. One, they were either being the devices themselves were from China and they were not, they'd either overheat or they would just not made well.
It's the oil against the metal. It's the oil against the metal. And so you don't want to intake the metal.
That as well. But also there's a difference in the black market as certain people using bad weed that's gone bad, like had bug problems and they sprayed a bunch of stuff on it. And then they just, we can't sell this weed. So they just make it a concentrate and stick it in a vape pen and you can buy it for cheap. So you don't want to buy vape pens in the illegal market. You want to buy vape pens from legal stores in one of your whether it be Oregon or Washington or California. We all have dispensaries. I would honestly prefer everyone buy a vape pen through a dispensary because it's going to be regulated, and lab tested. Okay, so that's the most important thing. I think there's value in them because they're a concentrate. So now instead of the weed that you smoke in a flower form, then you grind it and put it in a blunt. That weed is only going to test anywhere from 15 to 30% of THC. Okay,
So does it
real.
burn THC off of it when you burn it in that way?
No, no, no. I'm saying that's what's inside the plant itself. When you're smoking it, you're only smoking about, at the very most, 30% THC. That's very much. That's that $80 eighth you're talking about. That said, if you smoke a concentrate, even a vape pen, and it's lab tested, it's going to show you what the percentage of THC is. And it can range from 65 to 90% THC. Okay. So now you can just hit a little bit because it's a concentrate and you're not really smoking where the smoke goes in your lungs and it's hot. It's now vapor because it's a vape pen, right? So there are some beneficial benefits to vaping. It also is much more um, easy for moms or parents who want to smoke because it doesn't leave them with smelling like weed on their breath or their fingers or their hands because it's a vape pen. So they can smoke it without their kids really smelling it or knowing. It's for convenience sake. It's also really good for the older generation that are coming back to the community of smoking. Maybe they smoked before, and like you said, what they smoked before was probably only in the 15% range, right?
Yeah, it's
So
like
now they can have a suck on a vape pen and feel like, ooh, nice after one or two little hits. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So there's benefits to vape pens as far as, or concentrates, in my opinion, because they're higher percentage of THC. So now, instead of smoking 20 joints a day and always rolling and always smelling like weed, now I do 2 or 3 dabs every few hours. You know what I mean? And I'm great all day. And I don't smell like weed and it's
Well,
less on my lungs.
it's also the people are ritualistic as well because the actual rolling of the weed and the doing that demonstration of that and that
And smoking.
that I guess what do they call it, like habitual, like the
Yeah.
yeah, routine.
Yeah. Yeah.
People love routine. People
Yeah.
need routine in life,
We
ceremony.
love our ritual with our weed too.
So just
Really.
the aspect of rolling it becomes
Yeah.
addictive.
Yeah.
The actual, just if it could be, even if it's nothing, if it's a placebo, the
Yeah.
actual doing of that of
Yeah.
the object is a pattern, and
Yes.
people get addicted to that pattern.
Yeah. Well, because you know what's next. You know you're going to start feeling good in a few moments. It's the lead up. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Again, I feel anytime you ingest cannabis, it's medicine because we are all born with an endocannabinoid system. Our mother's milk has cannabinoids in it. Seriously, it helps us to stay in homeostasis, meaning balance in life. That's what it does for us. Our whole endocannabinoid system is in charge of talking back and forth to our central nervous center for our mind, our gut health. I mean, it's all related.
And
And
also
so
social too, as well. Social.
it can be for many
The
people, for
actual,
sure.
like,
Yeah.
going and, hey man, I got this weed.
Yeah.
Really,
And passing
it's like a moment in
it.
time and
Yeah.
pass it,
Yeah.
pass, give.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
a
like,
beautiful plant.
it is a beautiful plant. I'm not trying to cut you off, but
No, no, no.
it's
It's brought so much joy to hundreds, like a lot of different continents all have cannabis from centuries on back. Do you know what I mean? It's been around since the start of this planet. It's really amazing.
yeah, it's like the earliest, it goes dates back to early man,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
really does.
of early humans. It's like,
Yes.
when the construction of, reality, really,
Yeah.
it's like people needed, like, theologians, philosophers, you know, there's a, we experiment on nature in a way to enhance our own reality, to supersede, I love that word, supersede, or to jump ahead of what we need to go to. And that's where books are written, the Bible probably, you know, or before that, you know, Beowulf, you know, these are stories. These are Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal. These are all people ingesting plants to evolve the human reality.
Yeah.
Now we're science we're making it into a science. We're whatever the word is I'm searching for. It's this we're but it's going to be interesting to see how this transmutes into a broader consumption where it's a not not like fucking pharmaceutical, not like pharma or whatever. I'm not political. I don't know about those fucking assholes, but like it's like where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? This is the
More
great
plants,
new beginning,
more plant medicine. Yeah.
because we're gonna,
Pharma.
yeah, fuck pills.
Yeah.
And
They're killing people. They're killing our nation and making people not feel.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's numbing people out. And there's one thing about cannabis, it doesn't numb you out. It makes you feel, it makes you be present and aware and get conscious and connected to something bigger. So I dig this plant. I love what it's done for you. I mean, I always know that you love your weed and creativity and you're creating your art. I mean, I know it's part of your life.
Weed and listen to some fucking Pink Floyd or some Nico and Velvet Underground. I've created some of my best work on weed and like mushrooms. I let's try to divert this. Okay, so where do you have a position on mushrooms?
They're also a beautiful fungi from the planet to help us elevate our experience here. And they're only scratching the surface of their benefits, right? I mean, I have so many friends that are now microdosing and it's helping them tremendously with, well, a lot of ADHD friends, a lot of
PTSD,
people who have PTSD, people have just a lot of mental health issues. Super
trauma,
helpful.
trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Super.
I'm a big advocate for mushrooms. I'm a psychonaut, and
Yeah.
I've done peyote, I've done ayahuasca in the Amazon. I've definitely it's almost like we're gonna maybe hopefully have the same resurgence that we've had, or reality, or what's happened to weed, which will happen to the mushroom,
It's
because
happening.
it's
It's happening.
that will,
Yeah.
you know, bring everybody into a
Yeah.
higher consciousness. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Brett, I want to remind you, we have just gone through, it's not quite over, but we've just gone through the most crucial, auspicious year of our planet. Everybody, right? 2020 has just been a year we've never experienced before. The year of no one really knowing, right? It's just this auspicious time of strange transformation, planetarily and all. But we are leaving that and coming in. And if one thing I know for sure in life is when there is contrast, there is great expansion. And so, since we've experienced so much insanity this year, mind, body, and health, I believe we're on the crux of just happening to tremendous growth, mind, body, and spirit in 2021 and going forward. I think this has been a really intense year of growth for this planet, and it will only benefit us in greater ways that we'll have no idea how it will show up.
Well, this is the the paradigm shift that we're going through in 2000.
Yes, yeah,
That we're
yeah,
talking about like the harmonic convergence in 1998, and I saw a UFO that year, and I've had very many out of body experiences. But we always like when I was going through these paradigm shifts, like what's it going to look like? You're going to be able to see the energy patterns of plants and stuff like that. And there's a story like this is like I always got like glimpses of the future, like of what it would be like to be like in a paradigm shift. Like you'd be able to see people's hearts through their bodies, but how that actually in their muscle structure and their skeletal systems, but how that actually manifested through this time was through actually people having actually fashion where they actually had a heart physically on printed on their shirt. So how it manifests from a mental reality to a physical reality is a is where it actually it was actually physical. It's physical, it's tactile. It's like you could touch it and you feel it, you could see it, but it's actually printed. Like those like we were talking about this shit like 20 years ago. Like or I was having messages or whatever. We don't want to go, this is about you. But but like but like how like the energy patterns, the clockwork organic shapes of energy, how we see them in other people and how they see them, but it's actually very like we see them like in a physical realm, and it's not like this magical like crazy Xanadu of like special colors and patterns, but it's actually physical, it's tactile, you can touch it, you can feel it, you can see it on other people, like, and it's just interesting to be in this realm where we're actually fucking Tesla, the mind pattern of going to the moon loop that's going to happen soon with Tesla, the moon loop where they're going to shoot around the moon. um but like we're in it now, so but this we were felt about this like 20 years ago, so now it's here now, and so it's like everybody kind of adjusting to what
yeah,
we knew what was coming, but this is nothing is as it appears, it's it we're here, we're here. And so but this has been being taught, we thought this was going to happen, but what was it going to look like?
yeah.
It looks like this.
It looks like this. Also, I feel like it's just awesome to just show up our best us and just watch it unfold, not be attached to any one result, but just be grateful for the beautiful journey it's taking us on, right?
Yeah, it's a trip. It's a trip. Well, life is a trip, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I like that. I like this, because like media is dead, TV is dead. Like everyone's like COVID is here. Do you think that was a reckoning of some sort? Do you think that was part of it?
Do I think that COVID was part of media dying? What are you talking
Or
about?
part of like part of the paradigm shift, I guess. I mean, it's here. It's
I guess so, because it's happened, right?
but would
I
you
mean,
have
I
predicted it
don't know what to
like
say
this?
about any of that because, yeah, you're right. I feel there's a strange paradigm shift where media is concerned. Like, I ask my husband every day, where do you get reliable news? Like, how do we know what to believe and what not to believe? Half this country believes something so opposite of what I believe. How does this happen? So
Is it
again,
still?
I'm
It might be still losing of the ego in a way. Like
a hundred.
you
I
know.
mean, that's what we're here for, man. Lose that motherfucking ego, and we haven't been shown that much this past surgeons in this country for sure, unfortunately. But there's hope for a better tomorrow,
I think
right?
we're living in a system where I just like the animals to be okay. My biggest thing is the whales, the tigers, the giraffes. the marsupials, the penguins. I want them to be all okay. I want those animals to be, or because we're living in a time where nature is meeting science, and we have to either. Oh my God, there's a cat here that shouldn't be here because it's a little black cat. Um, I have two other cats in the house. It just came over here, but we're it's just funny because we're in a point where we have to either evolve or dissolve, maybe.
I'm with you. That's what it's about. That's what this year has been about. It's your time to go within and start evolving. Truly, we've got to evolve, or you're going to get lost in all the drama.
Wow. I know it's like gonna be. Like when I was in high school, I always thought about like the 2020. I always thought about 2020, the year 2020. It's always that year. I can't believe that cat's here. That cat's. I hope my other cats don't try to kill it because they're all territorial. Which is evolve or dissolve. But I always like we are at a precipice, but like the Romans, the Egyptians, the Neanderthals, we are in a very special spot.
We are, and we need to remind ourselves of that daily, that we are a unique place and time in this planet Earth right now, in this time, really. We're in a very unique space, and we just have to honor it and show up and be our best us. That's all we can do.
Okay, we're gonna shut it down soon. But
Yeah.
Do you believe in aliens?
I do.
Do you think we are aliens?
I live in Joshua Tree. There is alien beyond alienation out here. Do I believe I'm an alien? I don't know. I can't commit to any of that. However, I do think that there have been other uh, entities that have lived on this planet, and why not still be attached to wanting to come back and see what's happening? Why not? I mean, if you could, you would too, probably, right? Like, the dogs can lick their balls. It's like, if you could, you would, So the same. If we were
maybe once or twice just to see what it felt like, but then I would never leave the house. But
so yeah,
gosh.
sure it's hard not to believe in the aliens.
No, I've seen I've had some many multidimensional experiences with Pleiades and also Dogon tribe and stuff like that, where it's been very, very matter of fact, and it was beyond the scale of what I was experiencing. It was actually more or less a confirmation of different realities conjoining to be in this reality, because they're the arcs of our knowledge have I don't know. I think we're in a very special spot, and we're gonna have to see what happens next, but also be nice to each other, and don't be a jerk. And we're animals. I got these sharp teeth that I was born with, that other people were used to eat raw flesh. So where we're at now with these bodies and ourselves and our growth through mushroom, I do believe mushroom particles, and our, their asteroid, that crashed on the planet and superseded and seeded the earth with amino acids. There's a whole, we could talk forever. But
I know about that guy, Dr. Pistol or whatever his name is.
But amino acids seeding the world with amino acids, and the water, and the things walking off the water into the land, and creating animals.
Me.
Plants.
Sounds
Well, okay, so we went long today. So, but Sassy, so good to see you.
Great to see you.
So let's talk more in the future, but this is awesome. Let's bow out at this point and tell people where they can get a hold of you and get a hold of your stuff, and let's just wrap it up and just give me your help, put little little things on the bottom of the screen that make sense to them, but give them your
Yeah.
pitch and we'll get out of here.
Okay. You can find me on Instagram at the official Sailene. And Sailene is spelled Sail, S-A-I-L, and then E-N-E. The official Sailene on Instagram. If you want to follow me on Facebook, I'm just Sailene Ossman, Ossman. My store filled with non-psychoactive cannabinoid rich products is here's meaning plural, the number 2 cbd.com. Here's to cbd.com. And let's see, if you're a woman and you're interested in joining a women's social club of stoner ladies and coming to a getaway in your town in Oregon or Washington or Colorado or California, we are the Glowing Goddess Getaway on Instagram or the Facebook. And I think that's it. That's me in a nutshell.
Are you on
You
Instagram?
can also check out sailene.com. That's my personal website. Gives you a little history about who and what I am and what I'm about.
Well, I hope I don't have to make a podcast again to be able to have a conversation with you.
Me too. It's been
Because
great to see you. I love seeing you out in sunshine and nature with your art behind you. You're looking well, and I'm happy that you're there with your family. That makes me feel really good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. We're just beginning. This is the beginning. The
Good.
beginning. We're just
Yeah.
beginning. And
I'm
we're
with
all
you.
beginning together. Let's just get this shit together and
That's right.
love and peace and
Lots of kindness to your fellow mankind. Yep.
have empathy.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk. Everyone's going through some hard times. It's been easy. This is just the beginning. I love it.
Yes.
And so this is I love the fact that this conversation happened. This has been awesome. I'm so thrilled. This is why I do this silly little podcast.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored.
I'm honored.
Have a great day. Thanks for having me, and let me know if I can help you in any way.
Okay, well, let me help you if I can help you in a new way. This is usually where I would cut it, and we're recording, but this has been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Fucking awesome. Tell your husband I say hi.
I shall.
And I wish you well. Hopefully, when I'm next, when I go through the desert, I'll come by and say hi.
Please do. We have a beautiful space. Be well. Take care.